I told her I was leaving to be her shield. I believed the uniform I wore meant strength. I believed we were ready to defend our home. But I didn't know the war had already been lost in the shadows, traded away by the very men we called leaders.
They're near you! Get the wall!
Courage cannot fire a broken rifle. Bravery cannot buy back the bullets sold to line a commander's pocket. They didn't overwhelm us with superior tactics. They defeated us with our own lust, our own greed.
No! No! Please!
And the price of that betrayal was the only thing I had left to protect. "50 years later, the ghost of the desert tried to rise again, but they woke up to a different Africa, a continent that finally learned how to protect its own. We stripped away the shadows. We coded our defense with the one thing they could never buy: absolute, uncorruptible transparency. No rusted metal, no diverted funds, just swift, silent precision. Today, we didn't just save lives, we reclaimed our honor. We did not become stronger because the enemy disappeared. We became stronger because corruption died."
Scanning the horizon. Oko? Ko?
Slow down, child.
No time, so much to see.
Be careful. Woo! Remember the wood, the skin, the silence between the beats.
The archive is wrong. We need the okupoku. It's not data, it's feeling.
The rhythm is unstable. It cannot be coded. It was archived for a reason. The old ways were inefficient.
No conflict, no sadness. The system works.
The vision fades, Kala.
You cannot carry water in a basket. You need a heart that remembers.
Oku.
Welcome home.
I remember.
The unimagined is not about what Africa lacked. It is about what the world failed to imagine about Africa. They told us we began in darkness, that our lands were empty, that our hands held nothing but soil. Yet here we are. The earth remembers. The wind carries whispers of worlds we shaped before names existed. Africa is the cradle of humanity. Long before maps and borders, we were already becoming. There were libraries in deserts, universities under the sun where knowledge was harvested like grain. Bronze and stone spoke of skill, order, and beauty. Trade routes carried wisdom as far as the oceans. Legal codes governed lives with precision and care. This was Africa, unimagined by the world, yet fully alive. Some stories were carried away. Some names were changed. Some memories were whispered into silence. History is not only what is written, it is what is allowed to be remembered. The world did not erase us, it simply forgot to see what had always existed. But the unimagined was never gone. It waited quietly, in hands that learned, in eyes that watched, in hearts that dreamed. The mother planted seeds without expectation. The child sketched cities no one yet walked. Innovation is not new. It is memory carried forward, shaped by love and resilience. Plant what they cannot see yet. Build what they will call impossible tomorrow. Let your hands remember. Let your voice whisper. The stories of yesterday live in the heartbeat of today. The unimagined flows through generations, quiet, steadfast, eternal. What was unimagined was never gone. It grew in silence, carried by soil and sunlight, in ink and bronze, in hands that dared to dream. And now it awakens. The unimagined becomes visible. The legacy of our past shapes the promise of tomorrow.
They told us what Africa was, but they never told us what she will be. They showed us poverty. They showed us struggle. They showed us survival. But what if the story was incomplete? What if the next chapter was unwritten? What if the future is African?
But you have never seen what she is becoming.
I'm so happy we're all together.
Me too, baby. We're always here for you.
That's right.
Here's your lunch, sweetie.
Thank you, Mom.
Ready for school?
Yes, Dad.
You're almost there. Keep going.
Yes, teacher.
Education is the key to success. It opens doors that nothing else can.
Showed how the girl living in poverty. Showed how I survived. Poverty. Struggle. Survival.
Powering the city from the ocean.
Welcome to the United States of Africa.
Tears roll down her face, not from pain, but from the overwhelming inspiration of seeing all this.
Chapter was unwritten. What if the future is African?
We are not the continent of what was. We are the continent of what will be.
We were never behind. We were becoming. This is Africa. We have arrived.
What's the next step in our project, leader?
We focus on sustainable solutions. For our people, by our people.
We've laid the foundation, but unity is our strength. Let's connect our resources and knowledge. Yes, a united Africa can set new standards for innovation and community well-being.
Together, we are rewriting the stars. Our apps are not just code, they are bridges to new horizons. And every design is a story that speaks to the heart of Africa. With digital currency, even the smallest trade reaches the world. Yes, and the world is listening to our heartbeat. Every challenge we see is an opportunity to innovate. Indeed, let's chart unknown territories with courage and knowledge. Our past is rich, and our knowledge is our greatest asset. We're not only preserving history, but creating it every day.
We celebrate our roots as much as we celebrate our innovations.
Africa's story is one of harmony, growth, and endless potential.
Let's rise up, we can make it. Let's rise up, we can make it.
Let us rise up and make it. With our flags waving high, we stand united.
The year was 2098. Alesia was a dream of emerald gold, where cars didn't just fly, they dove into the deep, blurring the lines between the sky and the sea. I was Zuri, 18, a ghost in the machine, a hacker who found the one thing no one was supposed to touch, the key to the crossover, a bridge between eras.
Your ancestors called it the Great Breath. They thought it was a spirit. I thought it was a myth.
It's not a myth, Baba, it's a coordinate. And the council is tracking my pings.
Then hide it. Even from me. They take this company, they mustn't take the key.
But secrets that big don't stay buried. The Council of Five, the porcelain-skinned elites who ruled our world, didn't want a bridge. They wanted a throne.
The enforcers are at the gate.
They
know
came
you're
for my
here.
life,
Midas,
my
bring the
family,
cruiser. Protocol
and my
7.
city.
Midas, override the stabilizers! We're going off grid!
7 is a death wish, Zuri.
Then let's
To
dive
steal the
fast.
code only my blood could unlock. To save my father, I did the unthinkable. I leased.
See you on the other side, Midas.
I traded the sun of 2098 for the crushing obsidian neon of 3022. I woke up in Bozua, a sub-aquatic fortress where light goes to die. And there she was, Prime Zuri, a version of me forged in war and hardened by the abyss. She didn't see a sister, she saw a glitch, a clone to be terminated. I was a stranger in my own
help me.
future, hunted by
You're going to
abyssal
kill
guards
me.
and caught in a
I don't
tribal
wanna
war
die.
that had been burning for centuries.
Terminate this clone. She's a corporate spy. Wait, Prime, stop! She's not a clone. I know this. Dio? You know this fossil?
She's Zuri, from Alesia, from the past. Look! Her DNA has the Alesia solar marker. Prime, yours doesn't. She's innocent.
But the
She's
deeper
the
I
original.
dove, the uglier the truth got. The council hadn't just ruined my past, they were funding the wars of the future.
Hold the line! Fire! Warriors in They're down. Secure the area. Guards, hold the line! Warriors incoming! Copy that! Charge!
They were the architects of the chaos in both eras. My blood boiled. They wanted a hacker? I gave them a digital plague. In 60 minutes of pure, rage-fueled code, I tore their world down.
So the Mafia framed us. Do they attack like that often? Why do the Ubani hate you so much, Prime?
Resources. They think we hoard everything down here.
Midas, broadcast the truth. Every screen and era. Burn their empire down.
The Ubani aren't driving the initiative. Look at the logistics signal
I
origin
didn't
of
just
the Ubani's
broadcast
thermal
their
charges.
crimes to every screen in
I'm pulling
Alesia
up
and
the data
Bozua.
map
I
now.
erased them.
That's the council's signature frequency.
It's them.
They are funding the Ubani to create Bozua instability. They are framing us to destabilize the timeline so they can seize control of the crossover. What are you doing, Fossil? Making sure they lose in every era. They tried to kill my father. They won't win. Midas, I need a standard Bozua programming architecture. Now.
With one keystroke, I flatline their bank accounts.
She did it. The daughter of Alabi has freed our history.
I severed their internet access. I turned their smart towers into high-tech prisons. The porcelain gods of the council were suddenly just men in empty rooms with no way out.
You saved this era, Fossil. Take this. It'll get you home faster than that relic you came in.
Thank you. The coordinates are locked. Safe travels, Zuri.
The dream was a lie! Zuri showed us!
I watched on the monitors as the Elysia Defense Force kicked in their doors. No money to bribe them, no tech to stop them. Their empire didn't fall. It was deleted.
I'll hold the gate open. Don't look back, Zuri.
I'll see you in the history books, Deo.
I'm back now, under Akira Cliff's sunrise that never looked so bright.
This is home. We are home, Isis!
My father is safe. My sister is free.
Welcome
and
home.
The twins of time are finally at peace. They say you can't outrun the future, but if you're fast enough, you can rewrite it.
We missed you.
You did it, my daughter. You found the ancestors.
No, Baba. I found the future, and it's ours to build.
We didn't just rebuild the walls. We secured our legacy.
The future looks good on you, sister.
It looks good on all of us.
So there I was, mile 14. My lungs should be screaming, my legs should be cramping, but they are not. This is not normal running, this is supernatural running. I can see Ahab's chariot ahead of me. The royal horses are at full gallop, their muscles laboring, the wheels are spinning furiously through the mud, and I am gaining on them. But let me back up. Because what happened in the last hour is the most physically impossible, spiritually overwhelming thing I have ever experienced. I am going to walk you through it, every stride, every breath, from the top of Mount Carmel to the gates of Jezreel. You are about to hear details nobody has ever told you about this story. Stay with me, because at the 15-minute mark, I will reveal what I was actually thinking the moment I passed the king's chariot. Let us go back to where this all started. Picture this. I am standing at the summit of Mount Carmel. Behind me, the altar is still smoking from the fire that fell from heaven. The sacrifice is not just burned, it is vaporized. The stones are scorched, the soil is blackened. The 450 prophets of Baal are dead, executed in the Kishon Valley below. Justice has been served for their deception of Israel. Now I am alone at the top of this mountain with my servant. The sky is still clear, no sign of rain yet. But I know it is coming. I can feel it in my spirit. God promised rain, and after 3.5 years of drought, the heavens are about to open. I turn to my servant and say, "Go, look toward the sea." I get down, not just kneeling, I'm all the way down, face between my knees. Total humility. Total dependence. The fire on the altar was God's power. The rain that is coming is also God's power. I am just the vessel. I am praying intensely now, travailing, interceding. God, you promised rain. Fulfill your word. Send the rain. Break this drought. Restore the land. I tell my servant, go check again. He goes to the edge, looks toward the Mediterranean Sea. Nothing. He comes back. I keep praying. Go again. He goes, returns, nothing. Go again, nothing. This happens 6 times. 6 times the sky is clear. 6 times no sign of rain. And after all God just did with fire from heaven, this could have been discouraging. God, you just sent fire. Why is the rain not coming? But I have learned something. His timing is perfect. Persistence in prayer is part of the process. So I tell him, go back a 7th time. Then everything changes. My servant comes running. His voice sounds different now. There is a cloud, a small cloud rising from the sea. How big? I ask. He says, about the size of a man's hand. And I know instantly, that is the sign. The rain is coming. When God begins to move, you must move with him, and move fast. I jump up from my prayer position. I tell my servant, run, go find Ahab. Tell him, hitch up your chariot and go down immediately, or the rain will stop you. The God of Israel has proven himself, and now a massive rainstorm is about to hit. The road from Carmel to Jezreel is about 17 miles, downhill at first, flat for a while, then a slight climb into the city. In dry conditions, a fast chariot can make it in an hour, but in a storm, mud, slipping wheels, dangerous conditions. So my warning is simple: move now or be trapped. My servant runs off. I stand there, feeling the wind rising. The sky is darkening rapidly. That small cloud is spreading, multiplying across the sky like spilled ink on papyrus. The smell of rain fills the air. The earth itself feels like it is holding its breath. Then I hear it, not with my ears, but deep in my spirit, clear as day. Elijah, tuck your cloak into your belt. Get ready to run. Wait, what? Run? Where? Run? Why? I look down the mountain. Ahab's chariot is being prepared. Servants are hitching up the royal horses, the fastest in Israel. Not work horses, race horses, built for speed. And God wants me to run after them? Let me give you some context. I am not a young man. I have been in the wilderness for years, living on raven's bread and widow's meals. The spiritual battle on Carmel drained me completely. And now, God wants me to run 17 miles through a storm and beat a chariot? Impossible, unless God is involved. When God says run, you do not argue. You tuck in your cloak and you run. In our culture, a prophet's robe is long and flowing, dignified, yes, designed for running, absolutely not. So I gather the robe, pull it between my legs, and tuck it tightly into my belt, girding my loins, freeing my legs, preparing for impossible movement.
And then I look up and I see something that confirms what's about to happen. The hand of the Lord comes upon me. Let me tell you what it felt like. The hand of the Lord coming upon you is not like a physical hand touching you. It's more like, imagine being filled with a power source that's infinite. It's like your body suddenly has access to strengths that isn't yours. Every muscle feels alive. Every nerve is electrified. But it's not the adrenaline. I felt adrenaline before. This is different. This is divine energy. My tiredness? Gone. My exhaustion? Vanished. The aches in my joints from kneeling in prayer? Completely healed. I feel like I could run forever. And I hear Ahab's chariot starting to move. The crack of the whip, the thunder of hooves, the rattle of wheels on stone. He's heading down the mountain, and so am I. Ahab has his chariot. I have the hand of the Lord. This isn't just a run, it's a message. Running before a king's chariot can be seen as an act of honor, but this felt like something more. It was a statement to a king who had fallen behind that the true servant of the Lord leads the way. So I start by taking a direct route down the mountain, cutting across the terrain, leaping over rocks, dodging bushes. Every step is sure, every landing is solid. I'm descending Mount Carmel at a speed that should be reckless, but my feet know exactly where to land. There's a narrow ravine I have to cross. Normally, I'd have to climb down and back up, but I don't even break stride. I leap across it. Has to be at least 15 feet, but my steps are supernaturally guided. It's like I can see 2 steps ahead. My body knows where to go before my mind consciously decides. I'm reaching the base of Mount Carmel now. The road levels out here, and this is where the real race begins. I can see Ahab's chariot about a quarter mile ahead. The horses are at full gallop. The wheels are spinning furiously, and I am on foot. Let me tell you what goes through my mind in this moment. God, this is insane. I'm going to chase a chariot pulled by racehorses, on foot, for 17 miles. But then I remember, this isn't about me. This is about his power. This is about showing Ahab, showing Israel, showing the world that when God empowers his servants, the impossible becomes possible. So I adjust my stride for the road. Shorter, faster steps, rhythm, cadence, like a drum beat. Step, 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 step. Breathe. Step, 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 step. breathe. I'm settling into this rhythm, and I realize I'm gaining on the chariot. The horses are fast. I'm about a mile into the chase now, and I've closed the gap, and I'm flying. My feet are barely touching the ground. Each stride is covering 8, 9, 10 feet. My arms are pumping. My core is engaged. Everything is working in perfect harmony. Mile 2, I'm 150 yards behind. I could see the chariot more clearly now. Every time my foot struck the ground, it felt like the earth pushed back with supernatural force, launching me forward. What takes others years, obedience can do in moments. Mile 3, I'm 100 yards behind. So here's what something nobody tells you about running impossible distances. It's not just physical, it's mental. Around mile 5, something happens. My body is still strong. The hand of the Lord has not lifted, but my mind starts to question. Elijah, what are you doing? This is insane. You're not a runner, you're a prophet. Maybe you should just maintain this pace. Maybe catching the chariot isn't actually the goal. And I have to rebuke those thoughts, because doubt doesn't usually come when you're weak. It comes when you're almost at breakthrough. The enemy whispers, you've done enough. This is good enough. You don't need to push further.
But God didn't say, run toward Jezreel and see how you feel. He said, run to Jezreel. The command was clear. So I start praying as I run. God, you are my strength. You are my endurance. You are my breakthrough. I can do all things through you. This chariot will be overtaken. Your power will be displayed. And as I pray, the doubt lifts. The mental fog clears. I'm running parallel to the chariot now, inches away from the wheel. I'm pulling alongside the horses now. They see me in their peripheral vision, and they freak out. They're trying to surge away from me. I just keep running, and I passed him. Mile 12 through 17 are a blur of rain and mud and power. I'm ahead of the chariot now, not by much, maybe 10 yards, but I'm ahead, and with every stride, I'm pulling away. Horses at full gallop, their muscles are straining. When God carries you, even kings cannot keep up, and I'm running on the hand of the Lord. Mile 12, 20 yards ahead. Mile 13, 40 yards. Mile 14, 100 yards. I can barely hear the chariot behind me anymore, just the sound of rain, my own breathing, and the thunder overhead. Mile 15, I'm approaching Jezreel now. I can see the city walls in the distance, dark stone against the gray sky. Fires burning inside. Mile 16, the road starts to climb here, just slightly, the final approach to Jezreel's gates. Normally, this would be exhausting after 16 miles, but I'm not tired. I'm checking my stride now, making sure I finish strong, because this isn't just about outrunning a chariot. This is about arriving. This is about being there first when Ahab pulls up. Mile 17, I'm at the gates. The guards see me coming. Open the gates, I shout. They scramble to comply. The massive wooden gates swing open, and I run through, into Jezreel. First I stop just inside the gates, finally stopping, finally standing still. That's when it hits me. What just happened was supernatural. There's no other explanation. 17 miles, through a rainstorm, outrunning royal horses. The hand of the Lord did this. I'm standing there, and people are starting to gather. Guards, citizens, servants, they're all staring at me. Did you outrun the king's chariot? Someone asks. I just nod. And then, a few minutes later, we hear it. The sound of hooves, the rattle of wheels. Ahab's chariot appears through the rain. The driver pulls them to a stop just inside the gates. Ahab steps out, and he looks at me, standing there, barely winded. And in that moment he knows the God of Israel is real, his power is real, and his prophets operate on a different level. I don't say anything, I just stand there, a silent testimony to God's power, because sometimes the most powerful preaching isn't words, it's demonstration. So why did God do this? Why did he make me run 17 miles through a rainstorm to beat a chariot? I've thought about this a lot. First, God wanted to show that his power doesn't just work on mountaintops. The fire that fell on Mount Carmel was spectacular, but this was sustained supernatural power over 17 miles. God doesn't just show up for big moments, he sustains his people through the long journey. Second, God was teaching me and teaching anyone who would hear this story that obedience to him leads to the impossible. When you obey God, even when it doesn't make sense, he shows up with supernatural power. Third, this was a message to Ahab. You saw the fire? That was God's judgment. Now see this prophet outrun your horses. That's God's power. You can't outrun it. You can't escape it. You
need to surrender to it. This story isn't just ancient history, it's relevant to your life right now. Whatever impossible thing you're facing, whatever chariot is ahead of you that you think you can never catch, God can give you the power to overcome it. But you have to be willing to tuck in your cloak and start running. So here's my challenge to you. Stop looking at your limitations. Stop focusing on how fast the horses are. Stop calculating the impossibility of your situation. Instead, ask God to put His hand upon you. Ask Him for supernatural strength. Ask Him to empower you to do what you could never do on your own. And then, start running. Not in your own strength, in His. Not in your own power, in His. Not for your own glory, for His. Because when the hand of the Lord is upon you, chariots don't stand a chance. That's my story. 17 miles, 1 rainstorm, 1 impossible run, and a God who still does the impossible through ordinary people who are willing to obey. If this blessed you, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me what's your impossible run. What chariot is God calling you to chase? I'll see you in the next vlog. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to find some dry clothes. Peace.
Warships from Valtharis tear across the sky above Kalindra. Fire rains down on the skyline. The perfect circle spins violently. Explosions shake the Arelith terraces. Martha fights through smoke. The gilded instrument overloads with sparks flying. And at the center of it all, Adama stands on the highest balcony, wind whipping her earth veil, bronze light flickering around her hands. We believed height made us untouchable. We built upward until the ground felt distant. From where we stood, it looked like order. From below, it felt like distance. But when fire falls and foundations tremble, height offers no protection, because what stands too far above the ground forgets what keeps it standing.
Saw the city this morning, everything in place, nobody struggling, nobody...
Yes, Father. But are they choosing it, or just following it?
My daughter, freedom without guidance becomes confusion.
And can you build one where nobody questions anything? Adama.
Questioning is allowed, disorder is not.
What if what we call disorder is just something we do not understand yet?
You have been thinking too deeply about the Outer Kingdoms.
I have been listening.
Kalindra stands because it does not bend every time the wind blows.
Some winds are warnings,
and some winds are distractions. If we never bend,
we may break.
Kalindra does not break.
Nothing is unbreakable.
Change is not always growth, my child, and stillness is not always strength.
You will understand one day. Order is not control, it is protection.
Built the circle to keep the world in one shape.
The world has never kept one shape for long.
Then why do we fear when it changes?
Because those who benefit from the shape fear becoming smaller within it.
A messenger from Alarian seeks audience. Let them enter. Your Majesty of Kalindra, I bring words from Princess Ivana of Alarian.
Speak.
The Outer Kingdoms are unstable, fragmented, without guidance. Together, Kalindra and Alarian could bring structure to them.
Structure or control?
Shared influence?
Stability often looks like control to those who do not understand it.
And who decides what stability looks like?
Those strong enough to maintain it.
And what happens to those who do not wish to be maintained?
Then they will learn. Kalindra does not impose itself on those who stand on their own feet. Even if their footing threatens your balance? Kalindra's balance is not so fragile. Princess Ivana believes the future belongs to kingdoms willing to act, not those waiting to adapt. She awaits your answer. Tell Princess Ivana that Kalindra does not move because it is pressured. It moves because it chooses. I will deliver your words.
Shared influence never means shared power. feels different here. Nobody is pretending to be perfect. Different no means safe. Make we no forget that one. It is neutral ground, Martha. Neutral ground where powerful people still they calculate on. Princess Adama of Kalindra. Silver hair shining even outside your golden cage. Ivana of Valerian. You prefer shadows to sunlight, I see. Shadows reveal shape. Light only flatters. Talk wetin you come talk straight. Tired of your poetry. I came to see whether princess who questions her court truly exists, or if she is only rumor. Kalindra stands because it chooses carefully, or because it fears losing control. Control and protection no be the same thing. You question my intent? I do. Protection without power is fantasy. Power without consent is force. The Outer Kingdoms are tired of being observed, princess. They want influence. They want voice. No, voice is not given. It is acknowledged. And will your father acknowledge it? If it is just. Justice depends on who defines it. That one don't come here to celebrate anything.
No, she came to measure how strong the walls really are.
And what did you see?
I saw that walls can hide fear, and fear can look like order.
This is what happens when power refuses to share.
Rise! Break their walls!
That is not an army. That is a tide.
They are closer than we thought. This is not just war. This is pressure.
We hold our ground.
And if the ground is breaking,
Kalindra does not bend.
then it will snap.
Kalindra stands! Push them back!
You want war? Come collect it!
Fall back, now!
You changed more than the sky.
It was never meant to be closed. Why must power always be measured by how far above others we stand? Because height commands attention. Height creates distance, and distance breeds division. And you would erase that distance? I would reduce it so strength is not built on keeping others beneath us. Shared ground changes the balance. It changes who is allowed to rise.
galaxy, she's whispered. Will you take me somewhere beautiful for our honeymoon? Somewhere the sky kisses the ocean, where it's just you and me?
Anywhere you want, my queen. The world is ours.
In the year 2095, Africa did not just become the future. Africa remembered it. Cities rose from ancestral soil. Glass towers carried ancient symbols. Technology bowed to tradition.
This is Isi Halangwa, a city built on code and covenant. In this city of light and love, two hearts began their journey. They believed love was enough, but in Isi Halangwa, love must understand legacy. Unfortunately, their love was put to test.
I'm super excited to see this city's view. Let's go, Chris.
The sky carried them gently. The world below shimmered, markets floated, symbols glowed. The future felt safe, beautiful, certain. Before the steel, before silicon, before flight, there was a serpent in Insi Alangwa called Eka. The serpent is not feared, it is revered, for it carries the memory of those who built the first walls.
They are not here to harm us. They are here to protect us. They are not to be harmed or killed.
That night, the wind whispered differently. A shadow crossed their wall. Not an enemy, not a threat, but a guardian entering unannounced. Fear is louder than wisdom, and in one trembling second, tradition was broken, the sacred was struck, silence followed, but the city heard everything.
Who did this? What a taboo!
The lights flickered, the air thickened, dreams turned into serpents. Hundreds of eyes glowed in the dark, not in anger, in remembrance. You cannot wound history and expect the earth to stay silent. You harmed what protects this city, not out of hate, but out of ignorance. In Isi Halangwa, technology evolves, but respect does not.
The God of peace and the God of the land.
Dawn returned gently. Eka no longer hissed, it rested. For the gods kneel, a lesson was learned. In Isi Alangwa, the future does not erase the past, it carries it forward. In the end, the most advanced city on earth was not powered by machines, it was powered by memory. And in remembering, it became unstoppable.
They said the future was not ours. They said we should wait, learn, imitate.
and forget who we were. But memory does not die. It sleeps in soil. It breathes in rhythm. It listens beneath the mountains. From the slopes of Kirinyaga to the glowing plains of Neonairi, something ancient began to stir. Not rebellion, not anger, remembrance. Amani stood before the horizon of glass and sunlight, wind braiding itself into her hair, and asked not for permission, but for vision. Beyond prediction, beyond imported possibility. And beneath the earth, the baobab listened. Not a tree of bark and leaf alone, but a living archive. A quantum keeper of names, of proverbs, of drumbeats once mistaken for silence. When the system warned of instability, it did not understand what was waking. The code was returning to its roots. Rhythm is data. Language is architecture. Ancestry is infrastructure. They came, as they always do, offering partnership in voices polished and cold. But partnership without memory is possession. Open the tree, they implied, but the elders understood. If the roots are rewritten, the people vanish. So Amani stepped forward, not with weapons, but with remembrance. They did not raise steel. They raised memory. Under the night sky, drums became processors. Proverbs became firewalls. Children became living transmitters of inherited light. Our roots hold the sky, they declared, and every word hardened into protection. The baobab ignited not in destruction, but in recognition. Signals meant to overwrite dissolved against meaning too deep to decode. Because you cannot hack what was grown from soil and song. Future is not imported. Amani thundered beneath the storming clouds. It is remembered, and the tree chose its people. Time passed as it always does, but this time it moved with them. 5 years later, the engines did not roar with borrowed fire. They pulsed with rhythm, with drum wave propulsion, with encoded ancestry. Where they went was not escape.
Then we protect
They came with polished words and promises wrapped in silver light. They called it partnership, progress, alignment. But beneath their offer was a quiet hunger to rewrite what they did not understand, to reprogram roots that had survived empires. The baobab felt the intrusion before we did. A tremor in the code, a fracture in rhythm. And in that moment we had a choice. Open the gate or defend the memory. So the elders did not panic. The children did not run. The drums began, not as noise but as signal. Proverbs became encryption. Language became shield. Culture became firewall. And when their systems tried to overwrite us, they found something impossible to breach. You cannot colonize a people who remember who they are. It was extension. Mount Kenya stood luminous behind the launch platform, not watching them leave, but watching them carry the mountain into orbit. Memory became fuel. Back in the village, beneath quiet stars,
Will they forget?
a child asked the only question that ever matters. Will they forget? And the grandmother smiled, not softly, but with certainty carved by generations. Never, because in every circuit etched into starship hulls, in every command spoken in Kikuyu tongue, in every glowing interface that answered to ancestral syntax, the roots remained. They were never behind. They were ahead, waiting for courage to align with remembrance. The spacecraft drifted across constellations once named by others, now mapped again through eyes uncolonized by doubt. And far beneath the earth, the baobab glowed peacefully, not threatened, not fading, remembering. They never imagined we would redefine the sky. But the sky was never the limit. It was the beginning. The future was something we had to borrow, something we had to chase across oceans and languages not our own. But the future was never lost. It was buried in rhythm, in proverb, in the soil beneath Mount Kenya. We did not invent tomorrow, we remembered it. We remembered that technology can grow like a tree, that code can carry culture, that progress does not require erasing the past. When they tried to overwrite us, they discovered something unbreakable. A people rooted in memory cannot be deleted. So we rose not as imitators, but as originators. Not behind the world, but ahead of it. And as our ships cross new skies, our roots remain deep in Kirinyaga. because the unimaginable was never beyond us. It was within us, waiting to awaken.
They told us civilization came from elsewhere, that Africa was dark, its stories mere myths, that our gods were superstition, and our wisdom primitive. But before maps named continents, before history chose its favorites, there was a place where the earth first breathed. AAIIFF, the sacred navel of the world. A city where memory sleeps beneath the red earth, waiting for those who dare to listen. From the heavens descended a figure clothed in white, not with thunder, but with a snail shell of glowing sand. Obatala, the architect of humanity, sent to mold the land from water, to shape the first forms of life. With careful hands he crafted humans of every kind, not mistakes, not curses, but divine variations. Those the world would later reject, he protected. And yet, the story was stolen. Colonizers called our gods myths. Our shrines were silenced. Our knowledge buried beneath ash and textbooks. But the hands of Obatala had already shaped eternity. The bronze heads of Ife stand as testimony. Faces so realistic, so precise, that the world could not believe Africa had created them. The unimaginable truth was hidden, but never gone. Centuries passed. Glass towers rose. Servers replaced shrines. And in Lagos, progress pulsed like electricity through the veins of the city. We built networks. We built empires of code. We built a future that moved too fast to remember its foundation. Until the lights began to flicker, screens glitched. Symbols appeared, not errors, not viruses, but memory. Ancient patterns moved across modern machines. The past was not asking permission. It was returning. And then, darkness. Across Lagos, power failed. Skyscrapers stood like hollow monuments. Networks collapsed into silence. Panic spread through a city that had forgotten how to breathe without electricity. But in AAIIFF, the forest did not panic. The earth does not fear darkness. It remembers it. He returned to the red earth, to the grove where mist hangs like memory between the trees. There, clothed in white, stood the echo of creation. Not myth, not superstition, but presence. Obatala. The architect does not shout. He restores balance. Creation without conscience destroys itself. The words were not spoken aloud, yet they thundered through bone and breath. He saw it then, the bronze workshop of ancient Ife, fire-shaping metal with precision and patience. Hands that understood responsibility. He saw colonization distort memory. He saw modern ambition replace humility. And he understood innovation without identity becomes emptiness. Power is easy. Humility is not. He removed the gold from his neck, a symbol of achievement, of status, of self, and he let it fall into the fire. Because Obatala does not destroy, he refines. What burns is ego. What remains is essence. The sacred patterns of our ancestors are not just art. They are science, philosophy, and mathematics. Geometry of the cosmos, encoded in clay, bronze, and song. Today in Lagos, children drum the rhythms of Obatala while coding the logic of tomorrow, bronze and silicon, red earth and steel, drum and data. Past and future do not compete. They converse. Obatala was not fantasy. He was intellect. He was equality. He was creation. In AAIIFF, the earth does not simply lie beneath your feet. It watches. It remembers. The blackout did not destroy the city. If you listen closely, you will hear it whisper, "We were not discovered. We were remembered. The creation is not finished. The unimaginable is here, within us."